I mean, I've worked with Aaron Gordon and Tristan Thompson and.
Hi, Coach.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Okay, Coach, how the lessons conditioned during COVID pandemic there?
It's uh, it's more normal than it was initially. Things are um, somewhat open here, where you can go to a restaurant, but only half the number of tables are open, and you have to wear a mask just about everywhere. Kids go to school, but they have to wear their mask all day. So it's somewhat normal, but different at the same time.
So I guess it's better than before.
Yes, yes. Now we're going into Canadian winter, so that makes things harder because sometimes it's just too cold to go outside, and so that will make it a challenge when that starts to happen. So hopefully things start to improve before then.
Well, during this pandemic, is it any basketball competition other than NBA can also be held?
There are things in Canada. I live in Canada, and there are things going on for youth players, but they're much smaller than they have been. So if you play on a team, you might be assigned three other teams to play against, and you just play those same three teams over and over and over again, instead of having a league that would be 20 teams or more. And so it's very different, but hopefully it continues to improve.
Yeah, hopefully it will be much better soon. Well, Coach, before I ask before your coaching activities, especially shooting, I also want to know first about the culture of basketball in America. Why in America basketball is one of our perhaps the most in demand and even seems to be very important to American citizens. What's causing that other than is that management of sport and business there is very advanced.
I think there's a few things that cause basketball to be so popular in North America. Number one, it's easy and inexpensive. So with a sport like baseball, you can't really play or practice individually, but you can in basketball. And sports like baseball and volleyball, it's they aren't as creative. So you get a lot more kids enjoying playing by themselves when they're not with their team and practicing by themselves in basketball. And I think that appeals to a lot of people.
So yeah, it can easily players can be easily practicing in their home. Yeah.
Right, right.
I also want to know: are there any requirement if someone wants to be a coach or manage team to join a competition? Is everyone allowed to act as a coach? Because Alonso Ball once has a team whose their coach is their father.
Right. There are different rules for different organizations. So if you play for a school, your high school, for example, then the coach would have been hired by the high school based on their resume. But there is AAU, which is a travel club, and you can really just create your own AAU program and assign a coach, and that can be whomever you want it to be. So there are different levels and different streams that have different requirements for the coaches.
What is AAU?
AAU is an association of club basketball clubs. So they can be from very small groups that just have one team to very large associations that have multiple teams and multiple different age groups for both genders, and then travel and play summer tournaments, hopefully promoting their athletes.
So it's just different level of coaching.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Now I want to know about your journey as a coach from beginning until now. Did you ever play as a pro basketball player before?
No, I played as a youth player up until the end of high school, and wasn't good enough to, and I knew I wasn't good enough to play in college even, and so once I graduated from high school, I actually spent a couple of years away from the game, and then started to get into coaching around my early to mid 20s, and started coaching 9-year-olds and then 12-year-olds, and then worked my way up to coaching university programs here in Canada, and then eventually the NBA.
So I guess you're starting coaching from the kids level.
Yes, that's where I started coaching, and that's where I think people should start coaching. I think you should start with young kids and learn the basics as they're learning the fundamentals, and growing with players.
So you're saying that coaching the kids from fundamental is really important, right?
Yeah, you need to have an understanding as a coach of where players' abilities start and where bad habits start, and why these fundamentals are the fundamentals. And sometimes when you jump in at a high level, you don't always have an understanding of how the fundamentals can really help you. You only see the creativity, but don't see the details that go into the creativity.
Are there any coaches that not starting coaching from kids and just start from college or high school?
Yeah, there are some. There are people that are players and go through their career as a high level player, and then transition right into coaching at a high level. But there are very few of those people. There's a lot more people that are coaching at a high school level, and they start off by working with youth players and working their way up to high school.
Okay. Coach, I will translate it a little for Indonesian people who
Sure.
maybe don't really understand.
Sure.
So ya, jadi pertama itu ngelatih itu lebih bagus dari level anak-anak dulu, dari SD atau TK dulu, baru naik ke senior high school atau college, biar ada pondasinya sebagai coaches. Jadi lebih mengerti dasar-dasar pemain, lebih ngerti pemain yang belum bisa apa-apa itu ngelatihnya gimana dulu sebelum naik ke level selanjutnya. It's from at Rindra Gunawan. He said, I only want to ask how to improve my shooting skill.
Okay, well, that's a very broad, big question that has lots of potential answers. There's so many things that go into shooting a basketball well, and if you're going to focus on three things: can you be stable? Can you be on balance, or as on balance as possible when you shoot? Can the middle of your hand get on the middle of the basketball early in your shot? And then can you lift the ball up in the air and drop the ball down on the hoop? If you're going to focus on improving some things, that's where I would start: balance and arc, and shooting the middle of the ball with the middle of your hand.
So there is 3 points now, important point.
Yeah.
Okay, I will translate it first ya. Jadi coach bilang ada 3 poin penting buat nge-improve shooting skill kalian. Yang pertama itu balance-nya, terus kesesuaian posisinya, dan cara kalian nge-release bolanya ke basket. After you go to pro level, which team do you coaching first?
The first team that I coached for at the NBA level was the Phoenix Suns in 2009-10, which Steve Nash was on that team. Grant Hill and Amari Stoudemire, and we went to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Lakers.
Oh, they're so great. What is your motivation when you decided to be a coach after you're playing basketball in your school?
I had a lot of. I was lucky enough to have a mentor who taught me a lot about shooting a basketball. His name is Chip England, and he's the shooting coach for the San Antonio Spurs. And he had taught me a lot when I was a youth player. And I wasn't using this information, and there wasn't anything in my area for to help players specifically with shooting. And so I thought there was an opportunity to build a business around that, and I found that I really loved doing it. And so I didn't have very big goals when I started off. I just wanted to do something that I enjoyed and try and help people.
So yeah, it's just something that you want to do because you love it.
Yeah, exactly, and still is.
We're coaching several teams, several NBA teams, yeah.
Yes, I've coached for the Phoenix Suns, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Orlando Magic.
Oh, so you meet some NBA stars for sure.
Yeah.
I wonder how it feels.
Well, I mean, I've worked with Aaron Gordon and Tristan Thompson and Dwayne Dedman, players like that, and then through your travels, you meet other people. So that is exciting, but then you also learn that they're just people, and they're just they're famous, but they're working to get better and just doing something they love as well. So once you get over the fact that they're famous, it's very normal.
Yeah, they're famous, but they're also the same human being as we are.
Exactly.
But how it was happen? Is there any specific requirements for someone can be selected to coaching NBA team like you?